Dear friends, I hope you all are well and keeping safe. Recently, I've been reading a lot about World War II, and what fascinated me the most is what I learned about the contribution of women to the World War II. Now, sadly enough, not enough has been written about it. We still live in a patriarchal society, and not many stories of women are out about, which talks about their contribution, their sacrifices made in World War II. But then I got hold of this book, D-Day Girls, written by Sarah Jones, and this book is all about the sacrifices made by some women spies to the Allied forces during the World War II. So what I'm going to do is talk about my learnings from the book and few of the snippets, and also the learning I have overall reading other material, present it back to you. Hope you like what you hear. If you do so, please do share with others and provide your comment in the comment box. So here we go. In May of 1940, Germans attacked France, and by June of 1940, they were already in Paris. It was a sad day in the world history. Why? Because the Germans were all over. We all know the atrocities they were putting across, Jews and otherwise people around it. And the morale of the Anglo-American Allied forces were pretty down because they were exhausted. They fought a lot of war, and they had to do something to wage war against the Germans. At that point in time, Winston Churchill, who was the Prime Minister of England, he wrote a decree and he created a force unit known as Special Operation Executive. And the intent of this force was to recruit new fresh hires who can go and wage a war against the Germans. Captain Jepson was given the job of recruiting, but what he soon realized is that most of the people who are already, men were already fighting the war. Even if they are not fighting, they're exhausted, and the morale was particularly down. So he thought might as well he go to the women and try to recruit them more like a spy who can help them to wage a war against the Germans. His idea was ridiculed and it was dejected at times, but he got support from Winston Churchill and he went ahead and executed on the plan. The book D-Day is all about that. Now, why was this important? If you see, the war was at that point in time single-handedly fought by the Russian, led by Stalin from the east, and they strongly believed that if they wage a war against the Germans from the west, then it will be very hard for the Nazis to fight two wars at the same time, and then the victory will be theirs. Now, how do they do that? For that, they have to really know what was going on in France, and they thought France could be the ground of waging the war, and if they can reoccupy France, and then it can make Germans really weak, and from there they can get a window into the German as well through the borders. Now, to do that, as I said, you need to learn what was going on in Paris, and the best part to do was to recruit a female who knows French very well and can be deployed back to Paris and can do the spying and different activities to bring information back to the Allied forces so that when they plan the attack, they can plan it well. So what Jepson did was he was looking for women who can speak French fluently, who have either migrated from France or had a France background, and he could recruit them and they can be deployed back into the field. But the problem was threefold. A, he was looking at women, which was a big taboo. B, these are not trained. They are like housewife, Lise de Baissac. And third was how to convince them to fight a war, because at that point in time, to put women in the war, it was full of danger. He could not guarantee any one of them returning safe. And then again, things like atrocities against women will be pretty high. Tortures could be pretty high. So how he can culminate all of those and create a female recruit. But then he did so. In fact, 39 of the daredevil women were actually recruited and who went to the to France soil to fight the war against the Germans. This book, the D-Day, particularly talks about three women, and I'm going to provide a quick perspective on them. No way it is the reflection of what is in the book. You should definitely read them. But just to give you an idea, there were three women the book talks about. The first is Andrée Borrel. She's the first woman to actually land as a spy on the soil of France. She did many things, including blowing out the power lines so that the Germans would not have power. At the same time, she joined as a courier to the network of SOE and collecting information, spying on the ecosystem, and creating a team which can fight against the Germans when the time comes. Unfortunately, she was captured by Gestapo in 1942, and then she was sent to concentration camp where unfortunately she died as a part of what happened in the camp. Right. That's one woman. The book talks a lot about her history, how she has originated, and what she did for the bigger cause. The second woman the book talks about is Odette Sansom, and Odette, again, a housewife, mother of three kids, and she was recruited as well. She did phenomenal job, and in fact, going to France, and she, by the way, landed from the sea, and she did many things, including collecting all of the airdrops done by Britishers to collect all of those guns, ammunition, preparing for the war, collecting food, creating a group, an ecosystem, raising awareness amongst people so that the war can be raged against the Germans when the time comes. She again was captured by Gestapo. She never died, but she was tortured very badly, and it is all in the stories as well that she is known for her resistance to the whole torturing she got, but she did not open up. She didn't give addresses to the safe houses or what they were doing or any of the other information of the officers who are involved in the SOE operation on the France soil. So she was known for that, and despite being a woman, despite being a housewife, she fought like a real soldier and never gave up any information which could put her team or her ecosystem any kind of problem. The third lady that the book talks about is Lise de Baissac, and she was also one of the first person to arrive by parachute onto the France side of France and fighting the war against the Germans. And in fact, she did many things. She blew out train lines. She collected people together, bring them together to fight against the Germans. She had addresses to safe house. So when people or any of the captures, as a war captures, are taken out of jail, she used to help them escape from the jail and then put them in safe house and back to Britain again. So she coordinated all of those aspects. She came really close to Nazis in the Gestapo many a times, but miraculously she escaped arrest, and she remained unarrested until the war was won by the Allied forces. So the book talks about all three of them and their great contribution to the World War II and to the Allied forces overall. Many of them are awarded, they are gallantly awarded, but sadly enough, none of them got the highest gallantry award, just like the men on their counterpart would have gotten. And that's a sad part of the story, but nevertheless, this woman, nameless, faceless, and again, going out to a foreign soil without any of the other training that usually men get in a very short span of time, and fighting the war against the Germans. And needless to say, they have created a history on itself, and the leadership that they have shown, which has kind of paved the bedrock of what we see today in the women leadership. I also want to give a small trivia inspired by what the women have, all of these women have done. Ian Fleming, the famous James Bond character, came from here. But again, sadly, as you can see, there was not a female James Bond, it was a male character. But a lot of the stories are actually evolved or inspired by what has been done by these women during that difficult time. Also, the CIA and Mossad took a lot of hint from what women can do, and they have in those times in the early 50s and 60s recruited a lot of women as spies into their network to make sure they can replicate what Britain or Captain Jespen has done for SOE at that point in time. I hope you like what you heard, and I look forward to your comments and your thoughts regarding the same. Take care now. Bye.